Welcome into Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. Today's show, we are covering the breaking news as your Seattle Seahawks have set their 53-man roster ahead of the Week 1 matchup against the Denver Broncos. And what is believed to be of this roster is how things will be set going forward. The roster that the Seahawks will roll with for Week 1. And this is the closest that I ever get to become of being Ryan Seacrest or Willy Wonka, giving out golden tickets to find out if you move on and sending others home. It is a cutthroat business, folks, as some people have been released and others are going to stay on this Seahawks roster for the foreseeable future. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and go through the list. We begin with Justin Coleman. Coleman was released after he was expected to compete for one of the starting quarterback jobs in the nickel position. He is gone. The one veteran of this group officially released and can sign with anyone else. Meanwhile, let's go to the waivers. These are players that go on the waiver list that can be claimed. If they are not claimed, then they can be picked up for practice squads or be signed elsewhere. You get the idea. And as you can see, with the waivers, it's younger guys, right? You begin with J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, the tight end who the Seahawks just traded for a few days ago. He's gone. Marquise Blair, out. Linebacker Joel Dublanko, gone. Quarterback Jacob Eason, likely to go to the practice squad and be the de facto number 3 quarterback, but he's out of here. Also on the list includes offensive tackle Greg Eiland, wide receiver Aaron Fuller, defensive tackle Jarrod Hewitt, wide receiver Cade Johnson, linebacker Vi Jones. Vi Jones was an undrafted player and had really impressed throughout camp, but not quite good enough to get one of those spots. And then also waived was wide receiver Kevin Kassis. So those are just some of the players that did not make the final 53. We have more to reveal in just a moment, but before we do, today's show is presented by BetUS. BetUS is offering a 125% deposit bonus for Seahawks Today viewers. Available now at chatsports.com/bet when you use the promo code Seahawks125. So you may be asking yourself, what does that mean? Well, if you put $100 down, you're going to get $125 to spend for free now. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, use the promo code Seahawks125. College football getting started this week. Also, the NFL bets. If you want to bet on your Seattle Seahawks, whether it's prop bets or game lines, all of those are available now at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Seahawks125 at checkout. Here is more of the players that were waived by Seattle. Tight end Tyler Mabry, wide receiver Bo Melton. He was selected in the 7th round out of Rutgers, and there was a lot of hype about him potentially as return man. Tanner Muse, the former 3rd-round selection by the Raiders and also played college football at Clemson. He's out. Scott Nelson at safety is gone. Offensive tackle Liam Ryan's also gone, as well as offensive lineman Dakoda Shepley. Wide receiver Freddie Swain, one of the bigger names. Last year was a number 3 receiver for the Seahawks, and there was a lot of people that made a big deal about this one, of Freddie Swain being let go. And I'll be honest with you, folks. Freddie Swain was probably the worst number 3 receiver in the entire NFL last year. And, you know, I hear these so-called experts, the talking heads today, talk about, oh, this is a big loss. That's a lot of production gone. He barely had 300 yards receiving last year. So don't give me that BS about the loss of Freddie Swain. It's not that big of a deal. Obviously, that means they like the progress that D. Eskridge has made coming back from injury, and they like what they've seen from Young. More on him in just a moment at that receiver position, that they feel comfortable enough to move on from Freddie Swain. Darwin Thompson, former Super Bowl champion running back with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's out. He was expected to be gone, an undersized player, although he played well in the preseason. Lakiem Williams at linebacker also waived, as well as Deontai Wiliams at safety. So those are players that have been waived. Running back Josh Johnson on the waive/injured list does not make the 53-man roster. And then Tyreek Smith, the linebacker drafted out of Ohio State in this past draft, has been placed on injured reserve. So still a member of the Seahawks, but it'll be a while before we see him play again, which that one was not a surprise. That was expected. So with that, those are the cuts. How would you grade the Seahawks 53-man roster cuts? Let me know in the comment section. Type A, B, C, D, or F if you like what the Seahawks did here with the moves they made. Look, it's tough. I understand it's not easy, but it's a business. Business decisions had to be made. Type A, B, C, D, or F, and let me know in the comment section. Be honest how you would grade the Seahawks 53-man roster cuts. We are covering this team each and every day on Seahawks Today with nonstop Seattle Seahawks coverage for everyone's favorite price for free right here on the channel. Watch parties, live shows, breaking news, and more here on Seahawks Today. Got a great watch party lined up for the Monday night game against Denver here in a couple weeks. You will not want to miss out on that. Turn on your notifications so you never miss a moment. And you got to be here as well for Seahawks Today Live each and every Wednesday. That's tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific, here on the channel. Myself, producer Chugs, we have a great time answering your questions and having a lot of fun. Make sure to be here tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Seahawks Today Live here on the channel. So the guys who made it for Seattle, let's focus on them. D. Eskridge, Marquise Goodwin, Penny Hart, those three receivers, as well as Young, all competing for that number 3 receiver position. And of that group, Goodwin is the veteran and has the Olympic type speed. Young probably has looked the best in preseason. And then there's D. Eskridge, who's done, they're waiting on him to be more healthy. We know the skill level is there, but can he put it all together? And Penny Hart, an interesting option as well. Going to be very competitive, I think, for that number 3 receiver spot. A big gap from Lockett and Metcalf to who that number 3 receiver is. Kyle Fuller makes it. How about L.J. Collier? This was a guy, folks, that we have focused on for how many months, that after the Seahawks did not pick up his 5th-year option, that many discussions were made about L.J. Collier of, okay, what do the Seahawks do? Is he going to get cut? Does he fit this scheme? Are they going to trade him? And here we are at the end of the day when the roster gets released, and who's there? What do you know? L.J. Collier. Also, I always feel like somebody's watching me, and that is Michael Jackson at cornerback making the roster. Mike Jackson, as he likes to be called, makes it after an impressive training camp and really was a favorite of Pete Carroll's and looked really good in that preseason game against the Cowboys. John Reed, Joey Blunt, and Colby Parkinson at the tight end spot. The Seahawks will carry 3 tight ends. So with that, name a player the Seahawks should have kept. The decisions have been made. It wasn't easy. I know that there's going to be some fans at home that are sad to see some of their favorite players go, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. Who's the player that they should have kept? Did they get this right or wrong? Let me know in the comments section. One name who they should have kept. As always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seahawks there all the time on both platforms. And we will see you tomorrow here on Seahawks Today Live. Join us.